Greetings to everyone. My name is Kheiran and I represent UniMAP today in the Speaking Titans 3.0, and my topic for today will surround education in Malaysia. So Malaysia and education has been a very back and forth story whereby Malaysia has done a lot to improve the economic policies and financial status of the country using the 1970 new economic policy, whereby now many Malaysians are considered in the middle income category, and now everything is capital led. I don't think this is very reasonable, because now in this era today we need to have things to be knowledge led rather than capital led. So as usual, any issue has its problems, its methods and its solutions. So the situation here is that the Malaysian educational system has failed to impart competence in basic skills such as reading, maths and science. So the promotion of academic excellence is never really achieved, because education in Malaysia is unnaturally low in quality in scores of primary and secondary scores as compared to Indonesia and Thailand. Despite Malaysia investing more into education compared to these two countries, we don't see much improvement, do we? So it goes to show that how much you invest does not matter, but what you do with that money matters. So now going into the first problem of the day, when it comes to Malaysian education, the first problem would be a lack of accountability or competence among teachers, where an absence of performance-based pay and the guarantee of lifelong employment is caused by the central government imposing low-level curriculums. So what happens there is it's so easy to pass Malaysian education, so it's easy to obtain certs, and the level of competence is so low that you can be low in knowledge and still make it past the bar in Malaysia, as compared to Singapore and America, where they have these high level tests for polytechnic and SATs, and the benchmark is so high that you need to be at a certain level of intelligence to make it past everyone else and to make the cut. So the second problem would be state set curriculums. They focus on politics more than expanding knowledge. So with that being said, we know for a fact that our history books are altered to suit particular needs of religion and political beliefs. So I believe that instead of focusing on all these things, we're supposed to focus on STEM fields more in order to produce more productive and very intelligent people in the future. So knowledge is key, knowledge is power, sharing knowledge is empowerment. So I believe that by adjusting Malaysian education to the sense that we decentralize the decision making standards of Malaysia, we are able to bring the country forward in a more enhanced manner. So now, how do we decentralize the education to establish more curricular diversity? So the first thing we would do is all schools would be allowed to share a particular academic core, where it should consist of STEM fields and subjects that matter in the industry nowadays. We should prepare our students to succeed in the outside world, not just to regurgitate information into exam sheets, write them down and pass a particular bar. We already have that problem before. You can have 10 A's in SPM and still be the lowest performer in Singaporean exams. So the level that other countries have against us, it's just our educational standards is not good enough to compete with other countries. So we need to change that. So like I was saying, the academic core should be given enough time and resources to be taught well, whereby it should benefit both of the teachers instead of just a party that doesn't have anything to do with education. So schools should be allowed to choose elective subjects based on what they know they can teach. Like some particular teachers have their expertise in particular subjects, so they should be allowed to teach that, and schools that have expertise in other fields, they should be allowed to select that as elective subjects also. So schools should be transferred to state governments, whereby state governments can introduce incentive programs for teachers and students alike to allow a diversified range of public schools, and they can conduct experiments to pedagogical approaches when it comes to experimenting between students and teachers, and how they teach and how students receive information. So in the long run, we have this issue where teachers learn on the job, students learn from the teachers as they go. So there is a direct line in the graph, whereby as teachers get better, students get better with them, because it's not just about feeding students information back and forth without them even knowing what they're learning. So instead of that, teachers are able to connect with the students in the sense that they are able to understand the students deeper, in the sense of what they are capable of, what are their talents, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to decentralizing decision making, we should be decentralizing the funding of public education. Every school child would be receiving vouchers for education, where the parents would be allowed to redeem the vouchers in terms of subjects and fields in that matter. Well, you might argue that why are parents in the way of children's education? Where, well, I say, well, if the children are below 12 years of age, I would say parents would know better. And when the children grow up to be students of older category, maybe like 17, 18 years of age, then they move on to tertiary education, and then they would be able to select what they really want to do. So we already have that now, but the standards are rather low, because it doesn't take much for them to make it in the outside world. But to survive in the outside world, knowledge is key, capital is not. Capital is needed, but the essential part of it is knowledge. So I believe that the Malaysian education system needs some serious reform, and I hope that by decentralizing decision making thoughts and processes, we are able to achieve that in the long run and make Malaysia a much better place for a more civilized and intelligent society in the future. Thank you very much.